We're going to call the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission meeting for Wednesday, March 30th at 4 p.m. to order. If everybody please stand for a pledge. Joe?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mary Jane.
Randy Novak.
Present.
Joe Core.
Present.
Rich Merzinski. Terry Larson. Scott Cooley.
Present.
Connie Grammarosa. Michael Rosenbaum.
Present.
Jan Riberty.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of tonight's agenda.
So move.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions or changes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Next item is public comment. Anybody from the public like to speak? Anybody from the public? Anybody from the public? Hearing none, public comment is not closed. Communications, Mary Jane?
Communications for the month. LaPorte RDC President's signature on the Comcast agreement. We prepared the documents for the Rail Summit for July 12th for 2022. We received letters of support for the 39 North EDA application from Representative Walorski, Senator Young, and then receipts from Secretary Castillo that she received those letters. Ice Miller bond issue amending resolution, the USA Bank payment, and then Ice Miller congratulated the team on closing the bond issue successfully. Requested the auditor's treasurer's report for the RDC for March. Confirmed the $2 million in ARPA money for the 421 utility project. Talked to Mitch about the pre-construction D&M invoices schedule for their pre-construction meeting and their payment and their easement updates. Worked with Sender and Dalton on the annual report questions for the TIF annual report and the 2023 capture resolution. And worked with Sender, Dalton, Ice Miller on the 421 bond closings and the 421 TIF balances. And then gathered signatures for bond closing documents and worked with Tony on the tax abatement for Alexander Chemical letter of support resolution. End of communications.
Thank you. Minutes from the last meeting. Has everybody had a chance to?
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions or changes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next item, treasurer's report. Mary Jane.
Treasurer's report is as follows. 421 allocation area 1 balance is $532,940. US 421 allocation area number 2, the balance is $43,229. The KIDC TIF balance is $46,512. And the 39 North allocation area is $78,985. And that includes your TIF allocations for the end of 2021. And then it includes the transfer out of $10,000 for Mitch.
Right.
End of treasurer's report.
But it does not include today's bills.
No.
No, correct. All right. Motion for the treasurer's report?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. KIDC TIF, Barnes and Thornburg, legal services invoice 2591296 in the amount of $5,117. MCR Partners, March 22nd, March 22, professional services in the amount of $3,000. Thomas and Associates, February professional services in the amount of $780. Friedman Associates legal Services invoice 10734 in the amount of $202.50. Mary Elizabeth Pritz and Associates 2022 Rail Summit Table $6,500 for a total of $15,599.50.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next one is 421, number 1 TIF, Thomas and Associates, February Professional Services in amount of $780. MCR Partners, March Professional Services in amount of $2,000. Friedman and Associates, March Legal Services in amount of $1,500. Herald Argus, Herald Dispatch, February legal notices in the amount of $56.89 for a total of $4,336.89.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? Thank you. Next one is 39 North, Thomas and Associates EDA application for $1,378, and MCR Partners March Professional Services in the amount of $1,000 for a total of $2,378.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? So the total claims tonight are $22,314.39. Go on to old business, 421 I-94 project, Matt Reardon, MCR Partners.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, as you know, the project's been let. The finalization of all the easements is, we're pretty well complete, and I'll leave that to Mitch to chime in a little bit. We tried to the best of our ability, and also making sure that we didn't expose the county to any litigation, tried to stay on our easement and our right-of-way with regard to water and sewer, and tried to really accommodate the property owners over there as much as we could in the project. I think Mitch came up with some pretty good solutions to that, and I think we're about wrapped up on the easement requirements. Mitch, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, you know, I did send an email out to all the RDC members, I think last week, and there's 21 total easements. As of today, we do have, and 16 property owners, we do have 10 in hand. Now, next meeting in April, I intend to bring majority, if not all of them, to you for payment. There are some stragglers. There was the 6 property owners. I know myself and Randy had a discussion specifically about Speedway, which is now going to be the 7-Eleven. There's an issue there, and I think that's come to a head as of hopefully tomorrow.
Yes.
And we're going to know what direction we're going to go there. Either we're not going to hook them up and not agree to their exorbitant amount. They went over their appraisal, or offer what our original offer was to them. If we don't use them, though, if we don't do that, we could cut out a substantial amount of pipe and a substantial amount of main,
Right.
and also use an existing casing. There's 2 casings under 300 North 421 that was run when NDOT did the improvements to that bridge over 94. So that we're looking at potential savings there. You know, somewhere around $200,000 to $300,000 potentially. But I'll know on the Speedway issue probably tomorrow, and give us more direction then. I'll have more direction.
There's no way we're going to pay what they're asking to run sewer to their property.
It's
Makes no sense.
It's asinine.
All right, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
All right.
yeah,
So.
so.
No, I think what they were re-presented with was the original offer, in which they contributed to us for the extension of the utility. And after we discussed it, I said, just stop in front of them. Let's save
Right.
money and move on. And if at a later date they would like to pay for that, then they're welcome to go ahead and pay for it.
Yeah.
That's how.
So Matt, shouldn't we just move forward with what we're doing and get it done and let them worry about that later?
There's a few other property owners, I mean, so this isn't the only
Yeah.
issue that's,
There's a couple outstanding
the
issues.
pipe, but the pipe is ordered, so it's not, this isn't holding up the project.
No, the pipe's ordered. It's just the section I mentioned on 421 going south from 300 North. That's kind of contingent upon the Speedway parcel.
Okay.
And we should know that tomorrow, and if that doesn't happen, we're gonna nix that, and we're not gonna order that pipe.
Yep.
And we're gonna save tremendous amount of money doing that.
Right. Do you have something, Mike?
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that because
He's coming.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because we did collect money from them. Well, a few years ago. So I'm glad that you remembered that.
We can give it back.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. All right. Next item's KIP update. Matt Reardon.
A report to the fiduciary agent for the Ready Grant, which is the forum, is being prepared. The 681,000 and change grant for the bridge will be submitted. The state is methodically moving through the Ready process, so as I joke around, they're not so ready for the Ready. This project happens to be one of those in the region that is ready to go. And so I've had discussions with the JBC Rail, who's the switcher. I've had discussions with Mr. Limborg, who would be extending the CN connection into the park to the bridge. It's all clear that once whatever those expenditures are, that's great and greatly appreciated that the assets built on our easement are our easement and our asset and not theirs. So everybody's on board with that. So hopefully next month I will have received a grant agreement from the IDC about the Ready thing, and they're in design mode between Limborg and JBC. And I assume that we will be able to contract, or that the process for procurement will not be so difficult to get through. I'm hopeful that that's the way that it is. I think we're going to have to sit down once they actually promulgate the rules and tell us. But for now, I'm assuming that we're going to be able to reimburse the private sector for the investment that they make, and I'm hoping that's the case. If it's something different, then then I'll see you maybe next March, and then we'll talk about it because it'll probably take that long to get through the procurement process
Yep.
with the feds.
Definitely.
So that's the update with that.
Thank you. Next item C, 39 North.
No news on the grant submittal from the EDA, and I know that, again, 39 and the city are working things out, and to the best of my knowledge, that's where we're at. I know that again, I wish I could have some insight as to the scoring matrix of the EDA, but I have none, because it doesn't seem to be very logical. So that's difficult for me to wrap my head around. But I think we've met every metric that you could possibly think of for funding a infrastructure to a business park. But what would I know? I've only done this 25 years. So, Mary Jane, would you like to add to that?
Right.
I can just add to it that they're accepting applications till the 31st of March. So they're rolling applications. They'll review what they have, and they
Your mic
will
went
make
out.
announcements between now and September 30th, which is the end of the fiscal year. So either Mr. Childress will receive a letter that says yes or no between now and September 30th, or after that date, he'll receive a letter.
We don't receive a letter?
You do not, because he's the applicant.
Oh, okay.
39 North is the applicant.
All right.
We'll share it with you.
I'm sure I'll hear about it. If it comes in, it's good. I'm sure
Oh yeah,
I'll hear about it either way.
you will.
Thank you. Let's go to 35 I-94 TIF.
The commissioners approved the resolution establishing the area on March 16th. The next step in the process will be to hold a public hearing on April 8th. That will be for April 15th. Will be a meeting of to approve the declaratory resolution and the plan area document. So there'll be a public hearing associated with that. Once we get to that point, we're going to get to we're going to have a sit down with the developer to see where they're at and moving forward. Okay, this is being necessitated by a development plan that is down on the south side of the interchange. So any issuance of bonds are going to be directly related to the investment made at the location.
Right.
So this is different than the 421 and 94 situation. This is going to be developer driven directly, with some consideration with, I believe, some of the ready money, but not all. I know some of it was set aside. It hasn't been earmarked or actually authorized yet. So until I know when the developer, what their schedule might be and when they're going to go, then we'll just go in hold mode until then. But from the establishment, from the redevelopment side, from the planning side, from the enabling the property to be developed, whether it's this person and any others, you're ready to go. And the city of Michigan City has been made aware, the sanitary district has been made aware, the water department's been made aware. I believe we're going to have the same treatment and cooperation from our good friends at the water department that we had on 421 and 94.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Move on to new business. Consideration of resolution 03-2022, a resolution amending the bond resolution number 01-2022 to modify section 12 regarding the insurance of additional bonds.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any, this is just stuff we've already done. I mean, we're just going over it, right? We don't need to. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Consideration of 2021 TIF annual report and overlapping unit reports. Carl Sender.
Good evening, members of the commission. I believe you have in your packet the annual report for 2021. This is a requirement that we come before you and present a summary of the activity for 2021. We've also added in here the overlapping units report, which is towards the back end of the report. That's also a requirement that we do sometime during the year, and so just thought we'd combine them and do them both here this afternoon. I'm just going to quickly walk through the report for you. So page 2, purpose of the annual report, just review the commission members and employees. Item number 2, cash balances and revenue and expenditures. Number 3, outstanding obligations, and then also a listing of all the parcels that are in the 4 allocation areas are attached as well. Page 3 just shows each of you as members of the commission. Page 4 is the distribution of tax increment, our revenue for 2021. You'll notice that we have it for I-94 US 421 number 1. We received $242,871. For area number 2, $257,089. For Kingsbury Industrial Park, allocation area $135,330, and for 39 North, allocation area $37,271 for a total of $672,561. Then for the debt service on the next several pages, we have the new bonds that we just closed on earlier this month for $4,467,000. The next 2 pages are outstanding internal obligations that we had borrowed funds from the county's major move funds. For KIP was for $6 million. For a project on County Road 400 North and 950 was for $1,495,000. Page 9 then was the former bonds outstanding of the Series 2010. That was for the MOB, the medical office building facility there on 421. These bonds were paid off earlier this month as a result of the bonds that we issued to both do the water sewer project and also pay these off. Then page 10 is just the summary of our fund balances as beginning of the year of 2021 and end of the year balance for a total for all 4 of these funds, $948,278. And then page 11 is just a summary of the resolutions that were adopted during this last year. Then the next section of the report is the overlapping units report. This is where we give an opportunity for any of the affected overlapping units to have information. Page 13 is about the budget with respect to just the allocation areas, long-term plans for each allocation area, and tax impact on each of the taxing units. So page 14, the commission established these areas to associate with blight and underutilization of land and barriers to development and to foster economic development. And that's what this commission's all about. So that's why we have these 4 areas. Page 15, we put together an estimated budget based on what we're projecting as tax increment for the year, so the revenue, and then we show what the debt service will be, and then outstanding other services and charges for the commission that we have listed here. Then the final section then is the report on the tax impact. And I think, while this is kind of a requirement that we show this, I think we can also say that if it wasn't for these allocation areas, we wouldn't have this additional growth that's coming into each of these areas. So we do a quick impact to say, hey, if 39 North wasn't here and you released all of the captured assessed value of $1,989,000, it could have a potential impact on the tax rate of just about 15 cents. We also show on the following page the impact on the cumulative funds for both the county and for Center Township. They're pretty minor. They're each less than $1,000. Then we go to Kingsbury Industrial Park. Again, if we released all the AV and we wouldn't be doing projects there, it could potentially release or lower the tax rate by about 15 cents. And then the following page, same thing on the impact of the county's cumulative fund as well as Washington Township cumulative fund. Again, pretty minor impacts. And then we have also for US 421 area number 1, we didn't have this area in, it would have potentially an impact of less than a penny on the tax rate. And showing the cumulative effect is around $1,600, and then 421 area number 2 would be again about a penny impact if we didn't have this allocation area. So, as well as the following page, cumulative capital improvement is less than $1,500. So I ran through this pretty quickly, but all the details there, I'm happy to answer any questions. Finally, we have all the parcels that are there for your listing. A summary of this report is being input into the Department of Local Government Finance Gateway website, and it will be released by the required date of April 15th. So,
Thank you.
So if no questions, or I'm happy to answer questions, it might be in order to have a motion.
Motion approved?
Yes.
Motion to approve? Did somebody make it or whatever?
No. Motion
Motion to
approved.
approve Carl's report, annual report.
And a second by Mike. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next item is consider resolution 04-2022, a resolution of LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission concerning the 2023 budget year determination of tax increment for LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission. Carl Sender.
Yes, thank you. So by June of each year, we're to notify the auditor if there's any available incremental increase in assessed value that can be released to the affected overlapping units. And based on the budget that we've presented in here, as well as having debt service, payments on bonds, as well as obligations back to the county, there's no availability to release any assessed value. So that's all this resolution is saying. We need the full amount of our incremental assessed value. And a letter will be going out to all the affected taxing units indicating the same if you approve this resolution.
Right. Sounds good. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other questions regarding the resolution? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, Carl.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next, consider resolution 05-2022, a resolution of LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission supporting the creation of economic revitalization area for the purpose of property tax abatement leading to the construction of this is for the headquarters for, is this OTEC?
No, this is
Alexander Cummings.
That was at our meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a courtesy, Tony and I talked,
Okay.
this is
All right, never
a
mind.
suggestion, because it's in a TIF district and while we have no debt issued, it's always good to keep communication high.
Right.
And so when you abate real estate taxes, you minimize the amount of money collected in tax increment. And so the petitioner is Alexander Chemical. They requested real and personal. Real has an effect, personal doesn't. It's corporate headquarters. They didn't ask for anything else, and I think it would behoove the Redevelopment Commission to support this.
And it's a large, what was it, $5 or $6 million? 6?
6.2 or something.
Yeah, definitely. All right, what's your pleasure on 05-2022?
Approved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other?
Question. Will this project come under the responsible bidder ordinance?
I would assume, I don't know the answer to that. This is a county
private-
council, so I don't know what your rules are there, but I assume
We
so.
adopted it, yeah.
Okay, well,
That was
yeah.
what was adopted here, and it can't go there without being.
Well, the council did it also, so, yeah.
Okay, if the council
Pretty
did,
soon.
Thank you.
then you're
Especially if
covered.
we're giving abatement on it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. We'll double check on that. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Any other business? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.